guys, it's Crystal.
And this is Alcarin, or Matt. That's my real life name.
And Lucy. And basically we've been MIA for a little bit because we were part of that campfire and lost our home. So everything's been kind of wonky and crazy. So we thought we would do some videos to catch you guys up to speed and also kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do gaming wise.
So if you don't know what the campfire is, it's the NorCal fires. It affected all of Paradise, Lower Magalia, and where else did it hit?
Well, Polga, Concow. I don't know if it hit Sterling City. I know Sterling City was evacuated, but I don't know if it actually hit it. But basically a large portion of Butte County.
And what was the date? Just so everybody knows.
November 8th.
Because we're backdating this. We're starting from the very beginning.
Yeah, November 8th.
Okay.
And so we're going to go through the recount of that day just in general.
Yeah, day one.
Day one. I've done a little bit on my channel just because I went from talking and being there to just dead silence. So that day happens, wake up, everything is normal. I take Alcarin to work because that was our process. That's what we did. I stayed home. I was a stay-at-home mom and I drive him to work. And on the way back, the next thing I noticed, there's the craziest cloud. I'm like, okay, what is that rain cloud? That's funky. So I take a picture and I post it on Facebook. My friend Sarah, she's like, yeah, that's not a rain cloud, that's smoke, and it's from the town of Polga. I was like, cool, I've never heard of Polga, so we're solid, no problem there. Little did I know, Polga was literally on the other side of our house. And so that was fun to learn after the fact. So I get home, I get the kids, I get them all woken up and I'm like, hey guys, like, come check this out outside. It's crazy. And then they all come out and look and all the neighbors come over. There's smoke everywhere. And
at this point I'm at work, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty normal day for me. I wake up, I go to work. Actually in the morning I hear about the fires.
Oh, through people at work?
Through people. And I have to give a warning to everybody that, hey, some people might not be showing up to work because there's fires in the area. But that's all I know at this point.
Okay. And on my way, there's this like windy part that I drive and you can see the side that's directly on the other side of Polga and it's completely fine. There's nothing there. There's just a big billow of clouds. And as we figure out our new editing, because we're used to our desktop, so we don't know how to edit yet completely on this. So as soon as we figure that out, I'll give you guys all the pictures from that day and as things in our house and everything.
It's going to be cell phone only for a little bit.
Yeah. So then I take the 10-year-old and the 15-year-old to school as we're driving, and we're actually on that windy part again. I get a message from the school saying that the 10-year-old school is canceled. And when we're driving, you can see that windy part that I just had passed that had nothing on it looks like lava. It completely just beaming red lava. So I continue to drive and my 15-year-old's like, Mom, this is not a big deal. Let's go ahead and drop me off because it's dramatic and fun. You know how that is. So I'm like, okay. So I drop her off at school. I pick up Phoenix, the 10-year-old's friend, because I was like, hey, they can have a play date for the day. Pick her up and I head back up the hill, back on that windy part. This is maybe 20 minutes that this happened. The whole entire place went from looking like it was lava to humongous pine tree, 200 feet flames. I mean, just unbelievable. At that point, I'm freaking out. I left my 11-year-old at home because he's homeschooled, and my daughter is at her boyfriend's house trying to get stuff from his house so that she and him can get their bags per my suggestion. She's racing back to get to my son. I'm racing back to get to him. Her boyfriend is now on the road that was first affected. And as soon as I can, I'll post this video. Actually, I might post it separate so I can post it straight away. He's driving through a ring of fire because his house was one of the first houses that got burned down. And they're trying to get out as they're driving through the fire.
And one thing I think that people need to mention is there's really only one way in and one way out of paradise, right?
There's three ways down and one way up.
The two main ways that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody went out the skyway for the most part.
Down,
and people are panicking, and cars are running out of gas. Cars are blocking the road. Getting out is more and more difficult.
Well, at this point, nobody was even getting out. Nobody even knew it was happening.
Okay.
So people barely knew it was happening at this point, because this is still super early.
Okay.
So the fire started at like...
The panic hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, the fire started, I think, at like 6:50.
Right.
I saw it at 7 o'clock. This right now is only 7 something.
Okay.
And so we're driving up. I call you.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me, like, I was like, hey.
I think you asked me what to grab.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment, it's very hard to know what to grab, because we only had 2 vehicles. We had Gina's vehicle and your vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what can you throw in your vehicle? We have time, but it's a matter of we've got 6 people total, including Gina, that need to get out, right?
Yeah.
And our particular vehicle is a 5-seater only, this Equinox, right? And so you got to try to fit everything in here. We have animals that we had to take into consideration.
1,700 square foot house.
1,700 square foot house. You know, what do you grab in your last moments? And I'm a computer guy, right? So I'm like, grab all the servers, grab all the computers. How many towers did we have? 6?
Or I think it was like 8.
8 towers or something like that to grab. And then you tried to like fit as many in this Equinox as you could, and Gina's.
Well, so I get home, we make it home, we get there. So that the worry for my 11-year-old, luckily, worst feeling in the world, is gone. I'm there. I walk in the front door and I freeze. I 100% freeze. My 11-year-old, who just turned 12, is my hero. He goes, Mom, what do you need? I can do it. And so I'm like, okay, you just start grabbing hampers and just anything you can think of. Medication, which I missed his whole contact box as I grab his medication.
We didn't think about that. You
just panicked.
And I didn't even have glasses at the time. I exclusively wore contacts. I have glasses now.
He wore the same pair of contacts for like over a month. It was really sad.
Yeah, it was really brutal. And they were supposed to be daily lenses, so they get thrown away every day, so they're not meant to last that long.
So we grab everything. We get in the car. Gina Maria, our 20-year-old, gets in her car. I had to leave the cats because all I could think was...
First off, you told me you can only... We could only find one. Our 3 cats were outdoor cats. So that meant you can only find one. And we didn't
don't give any more. So we're doing it in steps.
Okay.
So I could only find the one, and all I could think was, they're not used to driving in cars, and I don't have a carrier. They're going to be so scared if I pick them up and I have to get out. And I wanted them to know the area. So I made the executive decision to leave her behind.
And you couldn't find the other 2.
And I couldn't find the other 2, knowing that it could be dangerous. Okay. That was a hard, terrible decision. But all I could think was, as I'm evacuating...
Fit all your kids in the car and get as much stuff as possible.
Well, that, and if I had her loose in the car, she's going to get out somewhere and get hit by a car.
Right.
And I just didn't want that to happen. So we get going. My daughter has 8 miles to the in her tank at that moment.
Well, think about, also you need to mention the night before and what happened there.
You want to talk about that?
I think you should.
Okay. So for our church, I used to, because I was a stay-at-home mom, I would help the elderly people, and I'd clean, and I'd get a little money to help with kind of like the fun things we wanted to do. I helped clean a woman's house, and I had $40, and God said, go ahead and put that in your gas tank. And I was like, I'm good.
Well,
thanks.
Keep in mind also that I don't think her tank was really empty enough to warrant putting the money in.
I had like a quarter tank.
She had a quarter tank anyway, so it wasn't like she needed gas right now or tomorrow. But
it was pointless to me.
It was pointless,
and
to
I
fill up
hate
the
getting
tank.
gas.
Right.
So I was like, no, I'm good. So then I hear, go ahead and put the money in the tank. And I was like, fine, I'll put 20 in.
Which I don't fully understand. Like, if you have enough money to fill up your tank, you might as well just put the money. You're gonna have to. It's like toilet paper. You're gonna need it forever.
I have ADHD, and sitting for the pump drives me insane.
What, the 2 minutes to fill up the tank?
For like 3 hours.
3 minutes to fill up the tank. Okay.
It feels like 3 hours. So, anyways, I hear, no, go ahead and put all the money in. Fine. So I put all the money in, and I go home. So that's that story. So I have almost a full tank of gas because of doing this. So then my daughter, we go to the gas station.
Well, keep in mind, you've also loaded up the vehicles completely at this point.
Both of them, yes.
And Gina's loaded up her vehicle completely, a brand new Nissan Sentra 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're both full. Go ahead.
They're both 100% full. I have Gavin, Phoenix, and her friend in my car, and I have one empty seat. So we get to the gas station. It is packed by this point. I wave goodbye to my friend Julie and our neighbor Becky, and we pull up. My daughter pulls up, and she's the next person at the gas pump. They decided to shut it down.
And they sold gas to everybody before her.
Yes.
And at that point, they decided to shut the gas station. Or the
for
gas
safety.
For safety reasons. And my thought is, if I owned a gas station in a fire situation, just strictly from a business perspective, I would want to sell all my gasoline, liquidate my product before everything burnt down. That makes sense. Plus, you want people to get out, right? Just from a moral perspective. But they refused to sell her gas, and she only had 8 miles left.
So I go and I pound on the window. I'm like, come on, you have to sell. You have to sell. And they're like, no, no, no. So we get driving. It's backed up traffic. We don't go down the hill, down south. We go up north because at this point, if we went south, we would be in the middle of the fire. And I know that. So we're trying to get above the fire at this point.
Well, also, tell them, where did you tell Gina to park at this point?
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, you're not there yet? Okay.
We're not there yet. So we continue to drive. We drive, and then I end up seeing this spot, the liquor locker or something like that. And I tell her to park it there. And I thought maybe, okay, we're in Magalia. The fire's in Paradise. That's fine. Well, what I thought would be fine. So I get her, luckily, because I dropped my daughter off at school, my 15-year-old, I had one spot in my car for my 20-year-old and her 2 cats. Mm-hmm. So I get her.
Because she has cat carriers.
Mm-hmm. I get her. We leave behind all our family photos, everything.
Everything in Gina's vehicle.
We had to leave behind
because we couldn't drive that vehicle out.
We just need to get out.
And there was at least 2 computers in there and family photos and a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So then we just drive up the hill, and at this point we're driving. I contacted Matt, let him know, like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm trying to get the kids out. I think
that was the last moment.
Not yet.
It wasn't the last moment that I heard from you over the phone?
Probably
the last moment. Okay.
And then I contact my daughter's boyfriend's mom, and I say, hey, you need to pick the kids up from school and head out of town right now. And she's like, okay. So she goes and she picks them up from school. So Gina Maria she gets a hold of her boyfriend, and he's driving in the fire, freaking out, telling her, he doesn't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do. Gina, on her way to get to my son, she had already been told she didn't know if she was going to be able to get up there because of the fire. And she's like, I have to go. Then she calls her boyfriend, Taylor, ends up talking to him. The next thing she knows, somebody's pounding on his window, telling him to get out and run. The fire's coming. And then the phone goes, click, gone.
And is the phone the fire in his yard at this point?
Already, yeah.
Okay.
And he got away from that, but it's still coming so fast. It was going 80 football fields a minute.
Yeah.
So she doesn't hear from him. And right before I got into the dead zone, I heard call Kylie. And I was like, Kylie's fine. I just talked to his mom, told them to leave. They're completely fine.
I want to give my perspective a little bit. I'm still at work. I'm aware that Paradise is on fire at this point. Mm-hmm. However, we were located in Lower Magalia, and I was confident that maybe we'd be safe because they're not right next to each other. They're close, but they're not right near each other. I thought we'd be okay. However, I'm trying to call Crystal this whole time, and there's no cell signal where you're at. I can't get a hold of you for whatever reason.
Exactly.
And I know that Kylie's calling me to try to call you, and I can't get a hold of you. So I'm just kind of panicking at this point.
Yeah. So then I get this voice that says to call Kylie, and I'm like, she's fine. She's fine. And then I hear, call Kylie. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call Kylie. So I call her and I'm like, hey, so you've left, right? And she's like, no, we're still at their house. And I was like, well, what do you mean you're still at their house? The fire jumped. You need to leave like right this second. And she goes, okay, Mom, let me give you the phone to my boyfriend's mom.
So you've already called her once and told her to get out, and this is the second time?
No, so I called the mom to pick them up from school.
Okay.
Then I thought they were already heading down.
Okay.
Then now I'm calling because I thought they were already heading down. Now I'm calling to make sure that they were heading down.
Okay.
And then at that point, I tell Olivia, like, hey, you need to leave. And she's like, okay, we'll go. So Kylie goes outside and there's a huge wall of fire. Basically, if I hadn't have called, the fire would have hit the house within moments of me calling. And so completely, God, amazing that happened. Now we're driving and we're out of range.
Well, hindsight like also, Gina didn't fill up. She had to leave her vehicle at this point. Crystal did, right? And so she has almost a full tank of gas.
Yeah. And we have to go the long way, which is over 100+ miles.
Right.
To get out.
To go out the back way. Yeah.
So we're completely.
What road did you take?
I don't know. We went up Sterling City. We went by Bambian and we went down Forest Ranch. And I don't know all those roads, which I had only learned about like a half a year before because my friend Julie. So we're up
you
there.
Probably wouldn't have got out going down out the main way, out the Skyway. It was probably clogged with vehicles at this point.
Oh yeah, it would.
And keep in mind people think, oh well, you can just get around those vehicles. Cars are running out of gas because gas is not being sold anymore.
Not only that, people are leaving their cars and just running.
Yeah.
And people, our bike paths became roads. The cops made people go on the bike paths.
I mean, at some point they started bulldozing cars to try to get people out.
Yeah.
Right. That's later on in the story.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
So the last thing my daughter hears is that her boyfriend is told to run from the fire. My husband can't get a hold of me. Apparently my friends were calling multiple times trying to get a hold of us. Kylie thought we had died because nobody could get a hold of us. It took us 2 to 3 hours to get out of this area because it's packed with cars. And you have to drive. I took the back roads to get as far ahead as I could from everybody. And then we finally get out to Forest Ranch. We get into Chico. And I get a hold of Matt, get a hold of Kylie and everybody. And at this point, poor Kylie, our 15-year-old, seeing fire, thinks her mom and siblings are dead, and begging her dad to please make it better. And yeah, Matt can't do anything. He's stuck at work. He can't get up the hill.
Okay, so the worst part is you can't get up the hill to even fix the problem. And you don't even know if your house is gone at this point. You just know that the area is on fire. And I mean, there's a lot of unknowns. You don't know where you're going to go and sleep tonight. You don't really have anywhere else to go.
You're just kind of in fight mode.
And one thing I didn't really take into consideration till after the fact was that when all this burned, right? All these towns, surrounding towns near Chico, everybody is moving to this one location or they're trying to flee. And housing and hotel rooms and rental cars and all these things that you normally can get on a whim are unavailable. Yeah. At this point, there's nowhere to go unless you want to drive 2+ hours away.
More than that, but don't get to that story yet.
Keep going.
Don't get to that story yet. Yeah. It's been a wild road, guys. Wild road.
So we're 5 months into this now?
On the 8th, it'll be 5 months.
5 months. April 8th. We'll continue the story, but do you want to stop now or keep going?
So, well, there's more to the day.
More to the day? Okay.
So I get a call. So we rented our house because we don't know where we want to live yet. So we're
let's be honest.
We want to buy the house.
Let's be honest. Okay, so I was the only one working. You were stay at home. Things were always tight because rent's very expensive. But we could have purchased the home. But I think because of credit issues, one of our credit's good, one of our credit wasn't so great. We're married, so they're going to take both of those into consideration. These are all deterrents from buying the home. That's why we didn't move forward with that. So we always rented, plus there was the fear of buying on top of it. Mm-hmm. So those are the reasons we didn't buy. Keep going.
So the people that owned the home called and said, come stay with us. Mm-hmm. And so in Chico.
Yeah.
So we come to Chico. I meet up to drop my daughter Gina Maria off, the 20-year-old, with her boyfriend and his family, pick up my 15-year-old from her boyfriend's family, we get back from work. We come and go to my friends, the people we were renting from's house. Next thing we know, that's being evacuated because the south end of Chico's being evacuated. And we end up driving to Stockton that night, arriving at like midnight.
Also, it was dark outside, and just looking towards in the Paradise direction, which is what, northeast? What is it?
Northeast.
Right? The whole sky was red. And I have a picture of that I can show you later. And so we don't know if it's going to come to Chico or not. We don't, it's just moving at 80 football fields a minute, and it's coming this direction. That's all we know. So we need to get out of Chico.
Yeah, and at that point, I don't want to take a chance with the family, so we fled to Stockton.
Right.
And I think that's where we're going to end it for today. So that's one whole day of excitement, and
we'll try to put one of these out every day or something, or
just till we get caught up.
Till we get caught up, because we have a ways to go on this story.
Thank you so much for listening. Please, if you have any questions, let us know. And if you were part of this as well, we'd love to hear your story. Okay, bye guys.
See you guys in the next episode.
Bye.